We all know how expensive college can be, and costs seem to only be rising. So what can you do to help pay or help to plan for that hefty bill? Paul Hemphill, author and college planning specialist, joins us with some insight. Paul, I guess the first question would be is just what do parents have to do when thinking about their child's college education? I mean, do they have to think about a certain number?
Well, they ought to. I mean, you wouldn't enter a car dealership without knowing in advance what you're going to pay for that car. So the same thing you do is you sit down and you decide, what can we afford on a monthly basis to spend? So let's say the figure comes out to $1,500. Well, you know it's $18,000 a year. So from that point, you go on the internet and you plug in, let's say, collegeboard.com or collegetoolkit.com. You feed in your numbers, and the calculators will come out and will spit out a list of telling you what colleges you can afford at $18,000 a year. You hand that list to your student and say, hey, look, do your research, pick one. We'll support you all the way. That is the easiest, fastest, and most efficient way to determine that you can afford a college education, and you're going to know what choices you have.
Well, I know everyone tries to look for little ways that they can save money, and one thing that I had seen that you had mentioned is the summer classes. Do the summer classes really save money, or they end up being the same cost?
Absolutely, because before your student goes off to college, he can call his college and say, look, there's a community college back in the town where I live, and I can take summer courses there. What courses will you accept for credit at your school? And they'll give you what those courses are at that school. And then, for example, if you're going to Trinity College, which is a private school that charges $4,200 for a 3-credit course, you can get that same course back here, let's say at a community college for $1,200, same course. Savings is $3,000. So if you can't get a job that summer, take 2 courses for your summer program, 3 summers in a row. It's a savings of $18,000. So what happens is that you eliminate an entire semester of your college career. You graduate 6 months ahead of your classmates, and you're out in the workforce 6 months earlier. I mean, there's lots of incentive to go and take those courses in the summertime.
As long as those schools say they'll accept
Absolutely,
them.
yeah. You can do that.
One other thing as well is how much should a parent plan to expend on other expenses? Because obviously the tuition isn't just it.
Okay. I'm going to give a very important life lesson to you parents. Are you watching? Okay. This is very critical because no college economics professor is ever going to tell you this. And you're going to hear it for the first time here. I told my 2 sons before they went off to college, I'm not going to send you a dime while you're in college. And after they got over my being Mr. Mean, okay, they were able, I forced them to learn how to budget their money, not to spend their money on frivolous expenses, and to be able to appreciate something as elemental and as emotional as the issue of money. So when they went off and did that, resume before they went for that first interview, they were able to put on a statement that said 4 years of money management experience. Wow. So when the employer sees that, they never see those kind of statements on a resume. They say, well, what's that all about? After they get over telling how mean their father was, they got a job offer after every interview.
Wow.
They thought that was really creative.
Who needs an accounting class? They have firsthand experience. Yeah. And also, is it possible, and this one, I was really wondering about for all those parents out there, is it possible not to spend a dime on your child's education? Absolutely.
I have a chapter coming out in my new book called The Best Kept Secret in America. It's about community colleges. You send your kid off to a community college where he takes the core courses that he needs to take to graduate from a 4-year college. He gets a Stafford loan, which is available through the college from the government, that he signs off for, the parent doesn't sign off for, so the first 2 years are paid for by the student through this loan. And then he matriculates to an state college for the last 2 years, which the Stafford loan will continue to pay for. The catch, of course, is that the student has to commute. You can't stay on campus, all right? So the upside is that the parent ends up not spending a dime for those 4 years. The downside for the student, he has to stay home for another 4 years. But I always say to the student, the upside is, and this doesn't sell very well, you're going to be able to bond with your parents for another 4 years.
I think another thing would be home-cooked meals. You should sell that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully you guys were able to get some tips there.